For 200 years, one weapon had made every enemy of the Greek world kneel. A wall of bronze, bristling with 18-foot pikes, the Phalanx. It had carried Alexander the Great from Macedonia to the edge of India. It had crushed empires. No army on earth had found a way through it. Then Rome looked east, on a foggy hillside in Thessaly, and again on a plain in Macedonia. Roman soldiers broke the unbreakable line twice and took a civilization with them. But the real question is not who won. The question is, why the Phalanx, so dominant for so long, could not survive contact with one specific kind of enemy. This is the story of the single flaw that ended an era. To understand what fell, you must first understand what it was. The Phalanx was born in the mind of Philip II of Macedon, father of Alexander. In the 4th century BC, Rome was even a regional power. It was simple in principle and devastating in practice. 16 ranks of men, shoulder to shoulder, each carrying the Sarissa, a pike 18 feet long. So, their overlapping spear points formed a moving wall of iron no cavalry could ride through, and no infantry could climb. When Alexander took it east, it shattered the Persian armies at Granicus, at Issus, at Gaugamela. His successors, the Daddokai, inherited this idea and built kingdoms on it across the Mediterranean. For nearly 2 centuries, the Phalanx was not just a tactic. It was the definition of military superiority, and the world had learned to believe it was invincible. But something different was being forged in the West. Rome's legions had not descended from Alexander's tradition. They had been shaped by Italy. Rugged, hilly, treacherous terrain where tight Greek formations had no room to breathe. After disasters in the 4th century BC, Rome had reinvented its army around a concept the Greeks had never fully embraced: flexibility. The Manipular legion divided its infantry into small, independent units called maniples, blocks that could pivot, advance in echelon, and fight on broken ground where a phalanx would disintegrate. Ha, stati, principes, tri, rei. Each wave could attack a gap, refuse a flank, or swing around an unprotected side. The result was an army that could not be broken by terrain, because it bent with it. No Greek general had ever faced one in open battle. They were about to. By the early 2nd century BC, the Mediterranean world had grown dangerously small. Rome, fresh from its titanic struggle against Carthage, turned east and found kingdoms ripe for interference. Philip V of Macedon had made the fatal mistake of allying with Hannibal during Rome's darkest hour at Cannae. Rome had not forgotten. In 200 BC, the Senate declared war, and the army that marched east was led by Titus Quintius Flammienaisa, young, brilliant, educated in Greek culture, and absolutely determined to win. Philip V, for his part, commanded the finest phalanx tradition Macedon had produced since Alexander himself. 2 military philosophies had spent 2 centuries developing in isolation from each other. One had never been tested against the other in earnest. In the spring of 197 BC, on a foggy slope in Thessaly called Cynoscephalae, that test began. The battle opened in fog and confusion, and the fog would prove fatal to the Macedonians. Philip's right wing, positioned on high ground, locked its phalanx and drove forward with terrible force and began to push the Roman left apart. Victory seemed within reach, but Philip's left wing was still struggling up the hill. Pikes at carry, formation disordered. When Flammienaisa saw the gap, and moved. He wheeled the Roman right against Philip's forming left, and the Maniples tore it to pieces. And then, in a moment that changed the ancient world, a Roman tribune, on his own initiative, peeled 20 Maniples away from the victorious right, turned them against the rear of Philip's triumphant Phalanx. The Phalanx could not turn. It was not designed to. Spears pointing forward, ranks pressed tight. It could not break formation fast enough to meet the attack from behind. It was slaughtered where it stood. What Cynoscephalae exposed was not merely that Rome had beaten Macedon. It revealed the Phalanx's fundamental weakness, the condition it could not survive. The formation's power was absolute, but it was also absolutely dependent on level ground, on time to dress its ranks, on both flanks remaining covered. Remove any one of those conditions, and the wall stopped being a wall. It became a trap. The Sarissa that projected so lethally to the front was useless to a soldier attacked from the side. Packed ranks that multiplied striking force in a frontal assault became a suffocating prison the moment the line lost its coherence. The Greek military world had built 2 centuries of confidence on a formation that demanded perfect conditions. And in warfare, perfect conditions are precisely what an intelligent enemy denies you. Rome had finally learned to deny them. 29 years later, the proof was delivered again, more completely and more brutally. At Pydna, in 168 BC, the last Macedonian king, Sarissa, led his phalanx against the consul, Paulus, in a battle both sides understood as a final reckoning. The Macedonian line advanced, and for a moment it was terrifying. Roman soldiers later said the wall of oncoming spears had frightened them as nothing else in their careers. But the ground was uneven, broken by shallow ravines and dry stream beds, and, as the phalanx crossed it, inevitable gaps opened in the formation. Roman manipules slipped into those gaps and fought from within. The phalanx could not close around them. The fighting lasted less than an hour. 20,000 Macedonians died on the field. Sarissa was taken alive and marched in chains through the streets of Rome. With Sarissa in chains, Macedon was abolished, carved into 4 republics, stripped of their armies, made a lesson. In 146 BC, Rome completed the work begun at Cynoscephalae. A Roman army sacked Corinth, the wealthiest trading city in Greece, as a demonstration of what defiance cost. Greece was absorbed into the Roman province of Achaia, the civilization that had invented philosophy, democracy. The Phalanx itself now sent its scholars to Rome as tutors and its art as plunder. The Romans conquered Greece on the battlefield, and Greece conquered Rome in everything else. Latin literature, architecture, religion, and philosophy would bear the Greek imprint for the rest of antiquity. An empire had fallen, a culture had not. But one image never fades: the wall of pikes, locked tight, facing forward, waiting for the terrain that never came. The Phalanx fell not because Rome was braver, or because Greece had grown weak. It fell because one system could adapt, and the other could not. In the ancient world as today, it is not the strongest wall that wins. It is the one that bends without breaking. If this story found you, consider subscribing to Dark Embers of History. It truly helps the channel grow. Tell us in the comments which empire we should resurrect next. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one.